year is 1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony. Until one day, a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Game Week 11 KNEEJERK stream. A quarter of the season is almost done, pretty much done already. We still got Everton versus Sunderland, or Sunderland versus Everton, because Sunderland are at home, to come tomorrow. All my players have played. I've got no one left. I'm on 87 points, which is pretty decent. And I've gone up to like nearly 400k, although that will go down tomorrow once the Everton game gets played. Annoyingly, I benched Paquetá, and he's finished on a 9-pointer, and Reinders has got benched. And yes, I am super frustrated about it because always play the player that's guaranteed to start, etc. But I will say, I feel a little bit less annoyed about it from what Pep said before the game. He said he really wanted to play Reinders, but he hasn't trained all week. So I'm annoyed at Pep for not telling us that he hadn't trained, because if he told us that, I would have played Paquetá. But we didn't have that info. So I suspect that Reinders would have started had he been fine. So in terms of the decision, it's probably okay. I basically had two players blank. One was Reinders and one was Semenyo. Everyone else returned for me. So I'm kind of okay with it. And I've got Paquetá for next week. I haven't been massively punished by having a terrible team. I haven't been massively punished by not using my 2 free transfers. A good green arrow. A decent score. 3 transfers next week. I'm feeling pretty good, to be honest. I've done Saka and Keane to Rice and Gabriel already. Good moves. I mean, I quite like Saka and I quite like Keane. But sure, I guess they're okay. Gabriel's pretty decent after all. Reinders looks so good after coming on too. I know, and he had a shot right at the end, which is actually quite a nice shot, but it was straight at the keeper. Any idea why the Bowen assist wasn't given? Yes. So the Bowen assist was not given for Souček's goal at the end, right? For the 3-1. Now, before I tell you why it wasn't given, please keep in mind, I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong, right? I'm just the messenger, okay? So FPL tweeted, and they've since deleted it for some reason, but basically, it's gone down as a double save. If you go onto the Sky Sports Premier League YouTube channel and you watch the goal from behind, so the reverse camera view where it's behind Pope, basically, Souček kind of kicks it, I think, into Pope's hand, and then Souček, it basically comes off his knee and goes in. So because it's a save and then Souček scores off that, it doesn't count as Bowen being the last shot. So Bowen shoots, Pope saves, Souček shoots, Pope saves, and then it hits Souček and goes in. So because of that second save, that's why it's not counted. I think it's really harsh. If I was a Bowen owner, I'd be a bit annoyed, but that's what it is, basically. 67 points with Njai to play is that bad? It's not that bad, but obviously there's a lot of scores of 80 and stuff going around. But obviously Njai could get you 12 points tomorrow, and then suddenly you're close to 80. Captain João Pedro. I've thought about bringing João Pedro in. Can you explain the Minter assist? I've not seen them yet properly, honestly. Is it too early to simply quit? It's never too early to quit if you're not enjoying yourself. Is 68 points bad in Njai and Tarkovsky? I wouldn't really worry about it until all your players play, you know? Do you think Voltemada has to go? Look, he's not going to get subbed at half-time all the time, right? But his and Gordon's minutes are being managed a bit because of Champions League and stuff like that. So if I had them both, I'd probably lean towards keeping. But at any point, if you got a spare transfer, you could sell them. I'm not going to go through everyone's score of, is this score with this player left good, right? If you're anywhere close to 70 plus, you're probably doing fine, especially if you've got some players left. Your terrible team got 10 points more than my team. You should have used transfers. Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. I'm quite happy that I didn't use my transfers. Also, Gyökeres is now potentially injured, so I might be forced into making moves next week. I'm a little bit unsure about exactly what I'm going to do. It could be anywhere from roll to 2 transfers to 3 transfers, depending on who I want to bring in, whether Gyökeres is, whether he's fit, etc. I wouldn't be buying Rodgers. No, I don't think so. Do I think Grealish will score? Probably not. He's more of an assister, right? Saka has been so underwhelming, not worth doing a Gyökeres to Saka switch. I mean, Gyökeres, the long-term plan is always for him to go as soon as Havertz is back. I wouldn't switch to Saka if Yorkresh was fit. But if he's not, obviously he's going to have to go. And also Saka owners were, well, I say Saka owners were a little bit unlucky. I mean, he should have probably finished a bit better, but he did have a couple of good chances in that Burnley game. By the way, my transfer out for Yorkresh might involve not buying Saka, and I might just go down to 2 Arsenal players. Like, one of the moves I'm looking at is Yorkresh to Guiu to free up a lot of money, and then Reinders to Mbeumo and Dewsbury Hall to Sarr. And then just not go Saka and not go for a third Arsenal defender for now. What do you think about Krupa Jr.? Evan Nilsson's back now. I just wouldn't bother going there. You said get rid of Caicedo and João Pedro this week. I'm not sure I said get rid of Caicedo, but I did say I wouldn't bother buying him. He's not going to keep up the attacking returns, and obviously he did. But it's getting a bit of a joke now. Caicedo is overperforming by quite a long way, I would say. Like, it's not going to continue. I don't think his role in that team has massively changed. And João Pedro, yeah, I would have probably got rid of him if the option was to buy Mateta, and Mateta did better, and Mateta's probably a better option going forward, so I'm kind of fine with that, to be honest. Is it time to admit Caicedo as a viable option? I will not be buying Caicedo. I do not think he's anywhere close to the best 5 midfielders you can buy right now. Considering going with 4 at the back from game week 12, with Munoz, Timber, Gabriel, Van Dijk playing most weeks, is it viable? Yeah, I mean, I played 4 at the back this week. I'm going to play 4 at the back in 12. I'm going to play 4 at the back in 14. It's absolutely viable, yeah. Thoughts on Welbeck? Great, as long as he keeps playing, and it looks like he's going to right now. Semenyo's got a back problem, visibly struggling today. Well, he doesn't have a back problem. He got a back problem in the game, but he played the full match, so it probably wasn't that bad, right? All of a sudden feels like there's no standout midfield options to buy. I mean, Semenyo's still good, and Mbeumo's good. Cunha could be good if he keeps playing. Fernandes is good. Saka's good. Foden keeps playing. Enzo's good. Sarr's good. Minte's good. There's probably some other good players as well. There's definitely more midfielders than forwards right now. Definitely. There's no way you're rolling your team with 3-3 Why? Why is there no way I'm doing that? That's what everyone said last week. Like, honestly, if you look at my team for next week, it looks fine to me. The only issue really is that I'm playing Dewsbury Hall, but it's just one bad player out of 11, and he's not like he's terrible. If Yorkresh is fit, that is, by the way. If Yorkresh is out, then yeah, I'm using 2 or 3 transfers straight away. One of the reasons why I'm tempted to roll, well, there's 2 reasons, right? One, it's an international break after game week 11, so it's always nice to have extra transfers if you can, although it's not the end of the world if you don't. And 2, Liverpool's fixtures swing in game week 12. Now, I don't expect that I'm going to add any more Liverpool players, but it would be nice to be in a position where if I need to do it or I want to do it, I can. Like, imagine having 4 transfers for 12 and all of a sudden an injury happens to a Liverpool player. And, like, let's say Isak gets injured. Like, and I know he's injured right now, but let's say he gets properly injured and he's out for a long time. It'd be nice going into 12 thinking, well, I can just do Yorkresh to Ekitike. He's a massive differential. Forest at home, West Ham away, Sunderland at home. Now, I don't see me doing that. And I don't really see me buying Gakpo either. But having the option would be nice. So there is a little bit temptation to roll this team. But the chances are I'll sell Yorkresh to Saka, or I'll sell him and get 2 midfield upgrades. The idea of using all 3 transfers so I don't have to play Dewsbury Hall is quite nice. Like just getting in Mbeumo and Sarr in. But we'll see. We'll see. Went with Welbeck instead of Voltemada. Very nice indeed. Off topic, I keep picking up an accent when you speak, but I can't quite determine where it's from. Bristol-ish, probably. Haaland captain versus Liverpool. That's probably what I'm going to do. If I do the Yorkresh to Saka switch, I might get tempted to captain Saka. Maybe. When is African Cup of Nations starting? Game week 17 is when most players will just become unavailable if they're obviously playing in the tournament. This team sucks. Yeah, I mean, people. Honestly, I've learned to just ignore all the noise because someone will hate my team every week, no matter what it looks like. And a lot of people hated my team last week, and it's just scored 87 points. So I'm feeling kind of okay about it. I did get a little bit lucky not having, like, the fact that Enzo and Sarr, etc., all blanked. Saka blanked again as well, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I actually really like my team. The only slight issue, I guess, is Senesi against Villa away, but I'm not going to make a defender transfer because these defenders carry me through to like game week 15, 16, no issue. And Dewsbury Hall, that's it. Everyone else is fine. Paquetá's good. Burnley at home. Fernandes, consistent. Semenyo's good. Mateta's good. Haaland's good. Yorkresh is good if he's fit. Haaland just said on TV that FPL managers probably weren't happy with subbed on 2 goals. It is what it is. His points aren't really worth too much. I was more annoyed that Reinders was subbed on than that Haaland was subbed off. I'd probably start Anderson over Dewsbury Hall. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Have you seen the Inter Milan goal? No. What would you do with Voldemort? I'd probably keep, yeah, for now. Unless you're going to move to, like, Mateta or something like that. Van Dijk on the bench against Man City, premium defender. Yeah, he'll probably get DEFCONs, but he also almost certainly concedes, right? Any plans to get Chelsea players in anytime soon? If yes, who would it be? So there's a very small temptation to go for João Pedro, which I know is obviously massively knee-jerk after yesterday, but he did at least take some shots. Because he's got, obviously, it's Wolves at home, then Burnley away. The only reason, literally, that I'm thinking even remotely about João Pedro is because it's the cleanest way, the cleanest way to not play Dewsbury Hall but use the fewest transfers. So if I do your question, Reinders out for João Pedro and Sarr, I can bench Dewsbury Hall and just play 3-4-3. So I only use 2 transfers. It means next week I'll still have 2 if I want to do something else. That's the only reason I'm looking at him. The alternative, if I go for the choice where I sell Dewsbury Hall and Reinders and pick up 2 midfielders, I've mentioned obviously getting in Burmo and Sarr. One of those could be Enzo instead. Could be Enzo. Otherwise, defenders I'm not really looking at. I'm pretty happy with my defence, honestly. And I know my defence doesn't look perfect this week, but I'm telling you right now, it's going to look really good in Game Week 12. In Game Week 12, I'm going to have Gabriel against Spurs at home. Obviously, you never bench Gabriel. I'm going to have Senesi against West Ham at home, Anderson against Sunderland at home, and Van Dijk versus Forest at home. I'm actually going to bench Lacroix probably next week against Wolves away. So Game Week 12 looks really good. Game Week 13, I might free hit. And then Game Week 14, Gabriel's Brentford at home, Lacroix is Burnley away, Van Dijk is Sunderland at home, and then Senesi's also got a good fixture at home, I think. Enzo really unlucky not to get returns. Was he a little bit unlucky? Was he a little bit lucky to get to not get sent off? I only saw a still of it, but it did look like his foot was very high into the knee. I don't know how much impact there was, so I'm not saying he should have been sent off. I just seen the still of it. Senesi's got West Ham at home in 12, but not in 14. Obviously, he's got something different. I mean, I've literally got the FPL page open here, so I could check. Everton at home in 14. So my defence looks really good in 12 and 14. So that's why I don't want to panic this week, like buying a Chelsea defender or something like that. I'd rather save my transfers for attacking moves instead. Should I sell Saka for Bruno? Well, it's interesting you bring that up because Bruno Fernandes has outscored Saka for 3 weeks in a row, but apparently nobody wants to talk about that. Apart from me. No, you should not sell Saka for Bruno. Saka is still a really good option. How did Jared Bowen not get the assist? I spoke about that earlier. I'm not going to keep going into that because people aren't going to like the answer anyway. Is Dan Burn a sell? I don't. It depends how often you need to play him. I do think Newcastle's fixtures are not that great. Like the next 3, like a lot of them are away, and I think the home game is against Man City. So it's not ideal, but from 15, the fixtures are not bad. You've got Burnley at home, Sunderland away, 15, 16. So they're okay to keep. I have said this now for like a week. I'm not really looking at Newcastle defenders myself whatsoever. I don't think they're worth bringing in, but they're not I wouldn't say Dan Burns a sell. Will Saka get attacking returns again? Probably, yeah. Gotta love having Botman in my team. Oh, ouch, own goal. Good shout with Verbruggen. Brighton are a decent attacking side. I mean, they absolutely smash Leeds. And yeah, Verbruggen, to be fair, that was just a very late call on the deadline stream when someone asked me about goalkeepers. Because I was thinking about Petrovic. I knew he had a bad fixture this week, then they would get slightly better. But yeah, I suddenly remembered that Brighton's fixtures were very good. This guy spent all week saying João Pedro must go because he doesn't shoot. I mean, yeah, to Mateta. Mateta did really well. I did also say at one point, I believe, that we went through this with Mbermo last year. We kept going on about Mbermo not shooting, then he went on a run and absolutely smashed it. Yeah, if I had João Pedro and I had a spare transfer, I absolutely would have sold to Mateta, 100%. I stand by that, to be honest. I never said take a hit to get rid of João Pedro. Have you thought about Cole Cole Palmer's not in my thoughts at all. Like, he's not going to be back for the international break, so you're going to miss the Wolves game. You have no confidence that he's going to get good minutes after the break. Just not interested at all, to be honest. I was thinking about selling João Pedro. Already have Mateta, but now I don't know. But you should probably keep him if you've got Mateta, right? He's got Wolves at home next. So which other forward? Like, unless you really want to upgrade your midfield, you should just keep him. And by the way, that's not like a massive knee jerk on what we were saying last week. That what you should do with players buying and selling is always going to change once another game week goes. Like, you've made the decision to keep him through the Spurs game. Now he's got like best fixture in the league almost. Wolves at home, and then he's got Burnley away. So you should just keep him now. How did Man United bottle that lead? Terrible defending for both goals, basically. I mean, to be fair, Forest did play pretty well in that game. But, yeah, it was terrible defending for both goals. Ahmad as well almost scored right at the end. It was like cleared off the line. It was annoying. Why do these people join these streams just to be salty and bitchy? I don't know. People have got weird motivations. Are you selling Reinders before the price drop? No, it's annoying. Reinders is probably going to drop to 5.5 million tonight, which is super frustrating because I got him at 5.6, so I will lose 0.1. But because I'm not 100% sure what moves up, like last week I went early because I knew I was doing Evan Nilsson to Mateta no matter what. This week, you know, an injury could change things. It could change who I'm selling, who I'm buying, etc. João Pedro said himself after the Spurs game, he plays more like a 9 when Palmer is on the pitch. I'd wait until Palmer is back to get João Pedro personally. Yeah, I'm probably not going to buy him. As I mentioned earlier, the only reason I'm looking at it is because I can get to a team that looks good for this week, 3-4-3, and gets to bench Dewsbury Hall in just 2 moves. That's the only reason I'm looking at it. The problem is, my exit point for João Pedro would probably be Voltemada in game week 15. And look what happened today. Now, I don't think Voltemada is going to keep getting subbed at half-time, and his minutes will probably be pretty good. But he's not going to play 90 minutes week in, week out. I know not many players do that, but it is nice to get ones that, you know, are going to do it quite often or get close. Maybe Voltemada is a little bit of a problem. Not enough that I would sell, probably, but enough that I would now be a little bit put off having to buy him. Reinders was injured tonight and Pep wanted to play him, so if he starts regularly, is he decent as an 8th attacker? So I thought about this, right? If we take Pep at his word, he really wanted to play Reinders, which is encouraging for his minutes longer term. But they've got Marmoush fit, they've got Cherky fit, Foden's fit, Bernardo's fit, Rodri. Rodri got on the pitch tonight as well. Nico Gonzalez is fit as well. There's a lot of players now available to Pep. They've got a lot of games coming up. There's midweek fixtures in the Champions League. There's midweek fixtures for FPL soon. His minutes are not 90 anymore. I haven't been that for a few weeks now. I just think it's a headache. I tend to dodge Man City players all the time for this exact reason. And I'm not saying I like massively regret buying him, because I think at the time I bought him, it was Burnley at home. The minutes were looking good. But those minutes are right down now. And again, and I've been saying this for weeks, the main problem with Reinders really is that he takes up a midfield spot, and there's a lot of good midfielders right now. There you go. There you go. Andy reacts to the trolls. That's part of the reason he got 500 subs. You think people like have such weird... People, I don't think people understand how people get subscribers for FPL, honestly. Do you think Raya is a must-own? But again, that's maybe a troll comment I shouldn't have read. Do you think Raya is must-own? No. I think he's very good. I must admit, and again, this is just hindsighty really because of the recent results, but I was really liking Pope and Timber. But actually, there's so many good defenders that having Raya in goal just to forget about is quite nice. Pope and Timber's quite nice, but I definitely wouldn't go for Raya and Burn, I don't think. I think it's Raya and a different defender, or it's Pope and Timber. I don't think Newcastle defense is like essential or anything like that. So Raya's good, but if you haven't got him and you've got a different triple Arsenal, that's probably fine. Is it time to sell Vardiol? Liverpool, then Newcastle away? Yeah, it could be. His minutes is continuing to look pretty good, but he did get benched recently, didn't he? That would maybe put me off slightly. Is the Mbeumo hype still valid? The numbers are still good. He's still playing good minutes. The fixtures are nice, yeah. If you've got him, I definitely wouldn't sell. And I might even buy him this week. I like the fact that United have got Everton at home in 12. Then it's like West Ham in 14, Wolves in 15. There is a small part of me that would be a little bit tempted to go Cunha instead of Mbeumo, because when Mbeumo goes to African Cup of Nations, it will save a transfer. The problem is we've got like 5-6 game weeks before African Cup of Nations, and I wouldn't be as sure about Cunha's minutes as I would be about Mbeumo, basically, up until African Cup of Nations. Would you encourage any FPL player to do their own YouTube if they wanted to do it? I mean, if you wanted to do it, why would you not do it? Like, you should probably do what you want to do as long as it's not hurting anyone else, right? Would you do Semenyo to Mbeumo Cunha as a differential punt? I wouldn't bother selling Semenyo now. You've kept him through the City game. Pictures are really nice now. Burn replacement, Van Dijk or Timber, triple R. I think if you've got the option, you go triple Arsenal defence. Unless you're going to... As long as you're happy to block an attacker, basically. Because once you go Timber, you're not going to use 2 free transfers to get an attacker in. But I do think Van Dijk's going to be okay from 12 onwards. The fixtures are just too good for him to not be okay. How long will Mamadashvili be starting for? I actually don't know what the timeline is on Alisson. I suspect we won't see him until after the international break, but as soon as he's back, he's going to be back in that team. He's such an upgrade. Not that Mamadashvili is bad, just Alisson is just so good. When would you start to avoid buying in Burma because of African Cup of Nations? I think one... Okay, so they go in 17, so 13, 14, 15, 16 would be 4 games. I don't know. I think from 13, 14, I'd be thinking, do I want this player? It really depends how good the alternative is. Like, if we got to game week 13 and Mason Mount was injured, for example, then I think it's quite hard to justify Mbeumo over Cunha if you know Mbeumo's going to get benched, if you know Mbeumo's going at some point. So, as always with FPL, it's quite difficult to give, evergreen advice. This is specifically the week where I wouldn't buy an African Cup of Nation player. It really depends. But if Cunha was looking nailed, then maybe you just save yourself a transfer. Most people are probably going to get into a situation where they get to game week 15, they got transfers to burn, then you're going to get topped up to 5 and 16. So it might be that we don't need to worry about transfers too much, but stuff could still happen where you need to use them for other things. So it depends. Right now, I would absolutely just buy Mbeumo over Cunha if you're buying a Man United midfield. I wouldn't take the risk on the minutes for Mateus. What would you do with Kudus? I mean, I'd probably sell him. Who's he got? I think, is it this week? Oh, Man United at home. I think Kudus can go if you got a spare transfer. Again, I wouldn't take a hit. I wouldn't force him out if you got other issues because he will start. It's not a terrible fixture. But I just think the fixtures are getting worse for Spurs in general. And I don't know, Kudus is fine, but he's not much more than that. Like, yeah, would I do Kudus Asar for free? Probably. But I think Mbeumo scores more than Gakpo from 12 to 16. Yeah, this is the question, right? So, fixture-wise, it's definitely Liverpool, 12 to 16, because Man United have got to play Palace away in particular in game week 13. I don't know where... Gakpo just worries me a little bit. He feels like he always plays 90, but he doesn't. There's a few 60-minute subs in there. There's one benching as well. And I know they're not going to happen that often. Whereas I just don't think Mbeumo gets subbed as much as Gakpo. I just don't think it would happen as much. Even though it has happened for Mbeumo, I don't think it will going forward. And so, for that reason, probably Mbeumo. But honestly, they're both really good. I'll say this, right? If Mbeumo and Gakpo play the same minutes between 12 and 16, I'd probably go for Gakpo. So it is a close call. But I don't think they'll play the same minutes. I think Mbeumo's will be better. And for that reason, I'd probably go Mbeumo. I just hate having any players where I've got to check the team sheet. And for me, Gakpo would be that kind of player. And it's not to say you shouldn't go for him because the fixtures are that good for Liverpool. But for me, I just prefer, look at Reinders today. The news came out that he was benched. It's like, that's just such a killer. Absolute killer. Saka has been terrible. Would you hold after next week? I would hold Saka until you really need the money for another upgrade. Like, I don't see the issue with him whatsoever. Bruno was so unlucky with that shot that hit the post. That's the third time he's hit the woodwork. And I know everyone's going to point out that that just means the shot was off target. I get it. But hitting the woodwork is as close as possible as you can come to scoring without... Well, you know what I mean? Hitting the woodwork is as close as you can come to being on target without being on target. It's the third time he's done it now. Maybe he just needs to get better at shooting. But at least he got an assist for a corner that probably shouldn't have happened. Thoughts on O'Reilly? I mean, same as always, right? What else can I say? If he played, well, I wouldn't buy him, to be fair, right now because it's Liverpool Newcastle. I'd wait until game week 13. If you're confident that a Man City, he's playing left back, right? If you think that he's going to keep playing left back with Vardiol and Ait Nouri there, and he's going to keep starting every game, you should buy him. He's not going to keep starting every game, is he? I just don't see it. The problem with Man City players, or a lot of Man City players, is they're not so good. No, let me rephrase. They have to be so good compared to the competition to warrant going for them. So O'Reilly has to be so much better than all the other defenders that you can buy, because if he gets benched, it's a nightmare. Basically. You think Van Dijk's going to get benched? No. Gabriel? No. Timber? No. Well, to be fair, Timber could maybe, but I don't think he's as at risk as O'Reilly. You get the point, right? They're not that good, in my opinion. And obviously, there's no point worrying about it now anyway. It's Liverpool at home, then Newcastle away. So come back to it in game week 13 and then see how you feel. What teams would you target for game week 12 other than City and Liverpool? Maybe a Newcastle player on the bench, but I'm not sure I would have Newcastle on 12. Not that many anyway. Bournemouth probably, Man United would be two of the other teams I think about. Maybe a Palace player as well. A couple of Palace players. Am I starting Van Dijk against City? Nope. Could you make a free hit video for game week 11? Probably not a separate video, no. FPL Harry. By the way, Harry's buying Van Dijk. He wants to go four at the back. He's seen my team with Van Dijk getting points every week. Now he wants to go for him. Raya could work from home. That is true. Have I considered Szoboszlai? Yes. But honestly, I have. But I just think if he ever plays right back, that would just really annoy me. Yeah. So I was kind of saying this earlier. Basically, if I use all my 3 transfers this week, then I'm not going to buy Liverpool players, and I won't bother using more transfers to get them in next week. If I make my moves this week in a way where I've got a couple of spares next week and I need a new midfielder. Okay, basically, I just worded that really badly. That's why doing videos is so much easier than doing live, because I can just re-record when I get it wrong. Just pretend this is my midfield for game week 12, and it's Semenyo, Fernandes. So Semenyo, West Ham at home, Fernandes, Everton at home, and then Sarr against, is it Burnley away? Or Wolves away? No, Wolves away. And then in Burma against Everton at home. Let's say that's my 4 midfield. I'm not going to sell any of them to Gakpo. So, long and the short is, if I need to make a midfield transfer in game week 12, I will consider Gakpo, I will consider Szoboszlai, but there's no way I'm going to go out of my way to do it. And also, I'll probably just buy Minte in 12 if I need a new midfielder. Again, it's like the Man City players. I just think Gakpo and Szoboszlai have got to be so much better than the alternatives to go there. And they might be. They might be because of how good the fixtures are. I just don't think I'm going to go. I just don't think I'm going to do it. No one should be jealous of Van Dijk. I do think Van Dijk's points will end up being okay over Christmas, though. The fixtures are too good for it to not happen. He's going to score at some point. They're going to keep some clean sheets. He's going to start every game. I love players like that. I'm not going to have to worry about him unless he gets an injury. Every week, pretty much, I just start him, apart from this week. I mean, I could maybe start Van Dijk as insurance, in case they get a clean sheet against Haaland, but I just don't see it. You're doing so well. That defense all hitting is amazing for you. Yeah, it was nice this week, but next week it probably won't pay off. But you never know. Leech, 2 months, by the way. Thank you. I think I did miss a super chat. Hang on, let me go back. Didn't look good for Voltemada. Too late for Welbeck. I don't think it's too late for Welbeck, but I guess if you're going to buy him, maybe next week might be slightly better because he's not. Because then you've missed the Palace away game. Look, I don't know. With Welbeck, he keeps playing. What's going to stop him playing apart from an injury? I don't know if his form dips or something like that. But the minutes look good. Brighton looking good. I think he's probably on penalties. Yeah, don't hate it. What would you do with Kudus this week? I'd probably sell him if you can, but I wouldn't take a hit to do it. João Pedro and Reinders to Sarr and Welbeck / Thiago. I wouldn't sell. I don't think you can sell João Pedro now for Wolves at home. I know. Again, I know that sounds so reactionary after what we were talking about last week, but things have changed now. He doesn't have Spurs away, and you're not looking to go to Mateta. You're looking to buy. And I know you're doing it to fund Sarr, but I'm like, if you could buy Minte for Reinders instead of getting Sarr, I'd probably keep João Pedro. What else have we got here? I was thinking about selling João Pedro. Oh, I did that one. Took your advice about Haaland captain, went and triple captain him. Nice. It's quite fun. I mean, it was only 1 point in the end, but it's quite funny that Gabriel did so well and Haaland still ended up outscoring him. I've lost patience on Gordon, the only cheap midfielder who's blanked last 4 game weeks, and now Yorkresh has to go. Yeah, I understand people that want to sell Gordon, to be honest with you. I get it. João Pedro and Reinders to Sarr and Welbeck / Thiago or any other forward. Okay, I think I just did this one, right? Alternatively, by the way, I think again, this feels so knee-jerk, but I guess that is the name of the stream. I think I would go Welbeck over Thiago because of how better the fixtures are. Apart from Burnley at home for Brentford, they're not great. Alternatively, would you do Raya and Van der Ven and João Pedro to Pope, Timber and Thiago Welbeck for -4? No. No chance would I do that. Let's talk Salah. I mean, if he plays Martinez every week, could be great. Who is more rich, Raptor, Focal, or Harry? Who's more rich? I've got an inkling for the answer to that, but I don't want to say. I don't know. Maybe actually, do you know what? I don't know. It might be closer than I think. For various reasons. Best week to triple captain Haaland. Thinking 17 versus West Ham. Yeah, arguably the best on paper. I mean, he's got Leeds. The thing is, if you wait till 17, obviously something could happen in between where Haaland gets injured or something like that. But on paper, yeah, probably the best option. I mean, Leeds at home in 13 is not bad either, or Sunderland at home in 15. I'd almost be tempted just to use it as soon as you can to make sure he's fully fit. But yeah, 17 against West Ham, pretty good. Tarkowski to Calafiori sounds good. I don't have any Arsenal defender. I don't know if I would do that this week. I know that sounds stupid, right? That sounds stupid. Don't sell an Everton defender to get an Arsenal one. But Tarkowski's got Fulham at home this week. Now, Calafiori probably is better, but is it worth a transfer? You can always do it in 12 if you want to instead. And who knows, over the international break, maybe you pick up an injury and that transfer is more valuable to you. Maybe. Gay is underrated in the FPL community. Yeah, he's good. I'd probably pick Lacroix now, though, for the same price. He's a bit more of a differential. Thomas, new member, thank you very much. You overvalue transfers. I would say people undervalue them sometimes. Now, right now, I might be overvaluing them because of the amount of free ones we're going to get in 16. But I think in general, people undervalue them. I find this quite hard to articulate, and it's even harder to do it live when I can't, again, re-record. But I think people find it really difficult to roll. I think, one, because they feel like they've constantly got to be making changes to their team so that they're impacting it more. But also, people want points right now. Right, whereas actually the aim is to get the most points over the season, and people find it very difficult to picture in the future that transfer could be more beneficial to you for something else. Not to say that it always is, right? Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you get unlucky. Like people wanted me to use 2 free transfers to sell Van Dijk, who got a clean sheet, to get Sarr, who blanked. And okay, I ended up playing Reinders and he blanked anyway, but I could have played Paquetá, right? And now I'm 2 transfers up and however many points. I mean, Michael Keane might go and get a 17 pointer tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. But Now this week, I'm in a better position to deal with Gyökeres now. Like, imagine if I'd done Van Dijk to Keane and Reinders to Sarr last week. I wouldn't be up on points, probably, unless Michael Keane goes mad. And I'd only have one free transfer this week to deal with Gyökeres. Whereas now, if Gyökeres is out, I can get Saka in 2 moves and roll one, or I can just put all the money in my midfield. Now, obviously, there's some luck there, right? Sarr hit the post, I think. Was it the post or the bar? I'm pretty sure he hit the woodwork. You know, Sarr could have scored a 10-point, and then I'm sat here saying I should have used my transfers. But I don't know. It's not like people act like you're going to lose them if you don't use them. I'm sure someone smarter than me can articulate this better, but basically there's opportunities with transfers down the line. Doesn't mean you have to get the point straight away. People are just very impatient as well, generally. But again, I don't think I've explained that very well. I need a smart person to tell me what to say, and I need to record it on a video, and if I mess up, I can redo it. 3 free transfers. Would you do Gordon to Caicedo tonight? I probably wouldn't buy Caicedo, honestly. He's fine. I know he's going to get DEFCONs and he's going to keep getting an attack and return every game, but I probably wouldn't do it. Plan is Gyökeres, Saka, Van de Ven to Krupi. I wouldn't buy Krupi either. Salah and Timber, game week 13. Nice. Thoughts on 4-4-2? Absolutely fine. 4-4-2 is absolutely fine. By the way, it doesn't mean... when I say 4-4-2 is fine, I mean that. It is fine. I've done it this week. I'm going to do it a couple more times soon. But 3-5-2 and 3-4-3 are also fine. Like, if you've got Mateta, Haaland, and João Pedro, you're probably playing 3-4-3 or 4-3-3, and that's also fine. You know, if you're sat there with a midfield of Saka and Sarr and Enzo and whatever other good midfielders people own right now, you might not need to worry about switching to 4 at the back. Depends who you've got. Ask AI to write it for me. Yeah, maybe. Is Caicedo going up to 6 minutes? There's no way I'd buy Caicedo. I'm going to stick with that. He's going to be my Chris Wood this year. Caicedo is not a good transfer in my opinion. It's quite simple. If your team needs a free transfer, use it. If not, don't. I would say it's a little bit... yes. I would say if it really needs a free transfer, definitely use it. If you kind of like to use a free transfer, you're not quite sure, well, you could maybe roll. Maybe roll. Any thoughts on Ahmad as an option? Look, he's not like a super defensive wingback, but his position is wingback still. And I know he scored and he came close to scoring again, but I don't think I would go there. Also, I mean, maybe I should check this before I say it. I think Ahmad has started pretty much every game, but I don't know if it is everyone. Because you could have... I guess you could have Dallo right wingback and Dorgu left wingback. So he played 5th... Oh, he didn't start the season, but that might have been injury or something. He didn't play in game week 6. I cannot remember if that was from an injury or not. I can't remember. But game week 6, he didn't play. 58 minutes against Liverpool, 69 against Brighton. I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't bother. I would just get in Burmo if you want another Man United player. Or obviously Fernandes. You said Lacroix or Minoz were better options as defenders, but Gay has performed well for me since game week 3. What's the verdict? Yeah, I mean, Gay's done really well. I would say he's probably overperformed a little bit in terms of attack and returns. Like, if I was buying new and I've got the money, I go Minoz for the attacking threat. Or I go Lacroix because he's the same price as Gay in a differential. That's about it. But Gay's a good option. Thoughts on Njai? Decent option. Definitely keep if you got him, and you could maybe bring him in. Fulham at home next. Fixtures. I think the fixtures for Everton are a little bit mixed, in my opinion, after Fulham. Like, Fulham are not pushovers. Then it's Man United, but away. Newcastle at home. I mean, Newcastle all of a sudden looks a lot better, right? They've just lost 3-1 to West Ham. But before that, we weren't really seeing that as a great game. Then it's Bournemouth away. Then Forest at home's good, but then it's Chelsea away, Arsenal at home. So Njai's a weird one where I probably wouldn't sell him, but I'm not sure he's that high up my list of players to buy right now. Isn't Caicedo a better option than Anderson, who everyone wanted at the start? I mean, sure, but no one wants Anderson right now, right? It's not like we're building our Game Week 1 teams again. You have several issues with your team. I mean, I've got one issue, maybe I would say. Is Rice better than Saka? No. But Rice is a good option in his own right. But I still think I still think triple defense or double plus Saka is better than getting Rice. Because I think there's other midfielders around that price from other teams who are also just as good. I don't think Rice is like the standout 6.5 million midfielder. How important is it to get Gabriel? I would say when you can get him, I would. What happened to you going to buy Mark Guiu? I probably will, but not this week. Well, sorry. I might do this week, but I wasn't ever really considering it last week, I don't think. Because obviously Yorkresh had Burnley. By the way, Yorkresh very unlucky to only get a goal. And if you're an owner, which I am, I think you can consider yourself a bit unlucky that he came off at half-time as well. Because obviously it was a knock. He wouldn't have got brought off otherwise. And by all accounts, played really well. I only saw the highlights of that game. He played really well in the first half. Arteta keeps bigging him up. I still think he's probably too much of a problem when Havertz is back. But yeah, if he was fit for some... And by the way, we've got European games. So it may be that Yorkresh starts in the Champions League, in which case we know he's fine for Sunderland, in which case I might roll. Present bias, the tendency to give stronger weight to payoffs that are closer to the present time rather than those in the future. Yeah, that's definitely how people feel with transfers. You're right. There's like, I don't know, people just, again, what's the best way to articulate it? I think sometimes people have problems in their team, but they overestimate how much of a problem a player is and like how quickly it needs to be dealt with. Like, that's the thing. Often, like, people say, you always say, like, oh, don't buy, don't sell, or you could sell, or you could keep. But again, I've said this many times over recent weeks. That often is the case for most FPL players. Most FPL players are not absolute must-buys right this second. And most FPL players are not absolute must-sell at all costs, whether it takes a hit or not. Most players are nowhere near that. They can just be kept if you need to. You're far too cautious to consider. Yeah, again, people always say this. I just got 87 points. So what's the, like, what is your point, really? So who is the standout 6.5 midfielder? If I was buying this week, I'd probably go Sarr. Despite him blanking last week. Saka's been so good at points dodging since I got him. Yeah, he's been a little bit unlucky. He's also not been great in some games, but yeah, I would say overall you've been unlucky. A bit like with Foden owners, who actually got something today. Ultimately, all that matters is your rank in Game Week 38. If you're playing for overall rank, that's all that matters, is what it is in Game Week 38. So whether someone's too cautious, too aggressive, who cares? Let's come back in Game Week 38 and we'll discuss it again. Right or wrong, the perceived pressure of price changes tends to push me to using transfers. Yeah, but that's something to consider. That's the reason I made a transfer last Sunday evening, because of Mateta. Because he was going up in price. That's obviously something to consider. It doesn't mean that you should definitely transfer a player in, though. When do you think it's too late to buy AFCON players? I think once you start getting to kind of Game Week 13, I'd strongly consider maybe not getting them. That's my rough game week that I've got in my head. But as I said earlier, it's not completely black and white. It might be that you go later with one player as a short-term punt because you've got free transfers saved up or whatever. Now is not too late because you've still got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You've still got 6 weeks of them playing. Would you support a change where you can't captain someone twice in a row? No, I absolutely hate that idea. Absolutely hate it. Because I just think it opens you up to even more variance. Imagine, like, I always use this as an example, right? Let's say Haaland's got Burnley at home let's say he's got Sunderland at home followed by Burnley at home. You decide to not captain him against Sunderland because you want to keep him for Burnley. Then he goes and gets injured. And all the other captains are just a bit rubbish that week. It just sucks, in my opinion. Honestly, this comes every single season. A player starts doing well for a period of time, and every single time it happens, someone suggests changing the captaincy, the rules. I just think we only talk about when a player does really well. If Haaland goes off the boil a little bit, and you're captaining Fernandes one week, Saka another week, Mateta another week, no one will talk about it. So I think it's awful idea, and I would hate if they bring that in. And I'm not usually someone with a strong opinion on stuff, but I just think it'd be super annoying. That would just be annoying, doesn't make it more fun. Completely agree. I just think you add more variance to the game, and that's just frustrating. One thing I will say, though, I remembered last week that assistant manager's gone. How good is that? Does anyone miss assistant manager? Probably wildcard 12, Yorkresh back to João Pedro. Don't hate it. I don't hate João Pedro for 2 weeks. Wolves at home, Burnley away. That would make the game more frustrating, not more fun. Yeah, I completely agree. Hate it. And people only ever want to change this when one player is doing really well. If Haaland blanks for 3 games in a row, you won't hear anyone ask me about captaincy changes. Assistant manager is better than Defcon. Nah, I completely disagree. I really don't like assistant manager. I'm glad that went away. I hope it doesn't come back. I think one thing that would be interesting, right? I reckon if you took a poll right now and you asked people whether they like double chips, I think it would be overwhelmingly positive. I think people would really like them. But I reckon if you polled those same people again at the end of the season, the positivity will probably still be there overall, but I think it will come down a little bit. Because right now, it feels great. I think Planet FPL, I think Suj on Planet FPL mentioned this. Double chips feels really good right now because there are some differences in where people are using them. In the second half of the season, when we get, or maybe it was James that said it, when we get blanks and doubles, it's going to be so much like people can actually have the same teams. It'll be a similar strategy because we've all got the chips to use in the same weeks. Whereas at least when you had one set of chips over the season, some people would use theirs in the first half. They wouldn't have them later on, etc. So I think overall people will prefer to keep double chips, but I think the positivity towards it would come down if you polled people in the second half of the season. Like once you realise that everyone's got a free hit and a wild card to manage the 1 or 2 doubles and blanks we've got later on, and everyone just goes to the same strategy, I don't think you feel so good about it. My opinion will depend on how lucky I get with the chips. That's also fair. Bench 1, Sarr, Caicedo, Bruno, Eze, Semenyo. Caicedo for me. I think All Out Attack was one of the best. All Out Attack was terrible. Well, it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't... Yeah, it was pretty terrible, actually. It's just not that fun to use. Imagine trying to use All Out Attack this year, by the way, with Defcons. Thoughts on Rodgers and Reinders for Sarr and Minte? Love it. But isn't it the same for captaincy? If you force it to change every week, you're adding variants similar to the idea of doubling chips. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not set. To be honest, I'm not really giving an opinion on whether I think double chips should stay or not. I'm just saying if you polled people in the first half of the season, they would be more positive than in the second half. I think overall, though, it would be positive. I think the majority of FPL managers would want to keep double chips. So I think for that reason, they might well keep it. Plans for Chelsea players, you have none. Probably just to not have any. Which could hurt. It didn't hurt against Sunderland, but it could hurt against Wolves and Burnley. Like everyone on Enzo, I can just see the timeline next weekend already. So many Enzo tweets. He feels like he's quite highly owned these days. I mean, I could get Enzo, but I think I prefer him Burmo and Sarr, but we'll see. Is Saka to Rice in 13 a good move to free up funds? I mean, I think Saka's doing my head in. I keep thinking about buying him, and I'm telling you, everyone that owns him, it feels like they're trying to sell him. I think going without Saka is viable. Put it that way. Doesn't have to be for Rice, though. What is the worst chip in FPL history? I mean, probably All Out Attack. Although Assistant Manager was bad, in my opinion. Too convoluted. Can you roll the 5 AFCON transfers, or do you have to use them all in one game week? No, so basically it's just having 5 transfers. So you might as well use one, because otherwise you'll lose it. So if you get to game week 16, we all get topped up to 5 transfers. You use one, game week 17, you'll have 5. Use one, game week 18, you'll have 5, etc. All Out Attack was basically you were able to play 2-5-3. So only 2 defenders. And then you could play 5 midfielders, 3 forwards. But if you think that sounds good, I'm telling you, it was not good. Because for pretty much the whole season, you're trying to play with like 3 defenders, and you might take money out of one position and attack, like as a dud bench player, and then you're having to upgrade that player just to play one chip to not play a defender. It was rubbish. It was so bad. That went ages ago, and then I think they brought free hitting after that. I can't remember exactly the order the chips came in, but I think it was something like that. When do I plan on playing free hit? Probably game week 13 as it stands. Krazis said I didn't read their super chat. Let's have a quick look. Went Saka captain and got 59 points all out, down from 700k to 1.2 million. When should I start to worry about my rank? I would at least wait until the first half of the season is out of the way, when everyone's played their chips, and then come back. All is not lost. If you went down that much, you can go up that much the next week. Like, I went from 500k to 800k, now I'm back up to 400. Now, I won't stay there because I've got no players tomorrow, but things can change pretty quickly, honestly. We're probably talking too much about chips anyway. Let's get back onto Game Week 11. I'm really not sure what to do with the Yorkshire money. Change structure or keep it the same. Honestly, I am pretty confident the play for me will be to tank that spot to Guy. Because if I go João Pedro and it doesn't work out, who do I move to? I feel like I'm just delaying the inevitable. I just think I want all my money. So I want Haaland, Mateta, then I want all the rest of my money in defence and midfield. Gary O'Neill is worse than... Yeah, I'm actually not super convinced that Wolves will be much better with a new manager, but let's see. I think Wolves are in big trouble. Feels weird to wildcard into a free hit. I've not even looked at that yet. I will say this. I'm pretty confident if there's no blanks and doubles that we're going to be free hitting. Obviously, we'll be free hitting in single game weeks. I'm not convinced there's going to be like massive upside. To, like, honestly, and it could be an absolute disaster. You're basically going to be selling pretty good players for other pretty good players. Like, the team you're free hitting out of could easily outscore your free hit team with single game weeks. Enzo or Sarr for the next 2 game weeks. I'm going to say just the next 2. I'm going to say Enzo. Penalties plus Wolves and Burnley. I think both are slight. Like, obviously, the problem with Enzo is Maresca keeps saying that he's got like he's not able to train properly, but then he keeps playing like 90 minutes. So I don't know what to make of that really. How much to not captain Erling for the next 3 games? I'm captain. Well, not. I won't captain. I might not captain him in 12, but I will captain him in 11 and 13. 12 when he's got. I think he's got Fulham away, right? In 12, I might go against him. Saka against Spurs at home. Bruno Fernandes against Everton at home. Are we going to talk about how awful Spurs were? Even some calls for Frank to get sacked. I found it quite funny when I was looking on Twitter this morning on the For You page. Lots of Spurs Twitter accounts just reminiscing about Ange Postecoglou, which I thought was hilarious. Because I'm not sure those same people, like, I'm not sure they were so happy when he was there. I mean, they probably were because of the trophy, I guess. But I'm not sure many of them wanted him long term. By the way, I'm going to trial something new tonight. So there's a new... Sorry, this is only for members, I'm afraid. But there's a new feature in YouTube now where I can convert this. So just for the record, right, before you'll hate me, the stream on Sunday is not changing, right? We've been going for nearly an hour. That's going to continue. But I can convert this stream to a members stream. So for anyone that's a member, in about 10 minutes, it's going to convert to just members only. I don't know if I'm going to do this every week. I don't necessarily do a knee-jerk stream every week either. But I'm just going to try that out. So in 10 minutes, this stream's going to convert to a member stream. So we'll still have the exact same time as we've always done for the knee-jerk stream, but I'm just going to add a little bit on at the end. So we've got 10 minutes. 10 minutes for any other questions before it converts to members. If I have 0.9 million in the bank and want to change Reinders, who should I consider? So if he drops in price tonight, that's 5.5. So you'll have 6.4. Minte, probably. Who to sell Saka or Yorkresh for? Is it a money grab? Is it? You're getting exactly the same string you get every single week. I'm just adding a little bit extra for other people. That's all. Okay, I can already feel like this is a bad idea. People are getting exactly the same thing they get every single week, and now it's a problem. How many points did you get this week? 87. Thoughts on Bowen and Garner to Guillaume and Burmo before the price changes? Bowen's got Burnley, so I probably wouldn't do it. I don't think I would do it. Spurs are coming first on the away ladder and 17th on the home ladder. Spurs just not great right now, maybe? Is members only going to shorten the normal stream or you're extending the shift? No, I'm extending the shift. That's what I said. Would you bench boost Dubravka, West Ham away? Calvert-Lewin might be injured. So we'll have to come back to that. 0.1 million away from Kudus to Enzo. I've got 3 free transfers. Should I do in Burmo for Bruno? I would just keep Bruno, honestly. Can you not find a different way to do it, maybe? Who to sell, Saka or Yorkresh for Gabriel? Definitely Yorkresh. Like, there's no questions. Is it time to sell Volta? I kind of talked about that a bit already. I'd probably keep, but I get why people might want to get rid of it. Downgrade Tarkovsky to a Crystal Palace defender. I'd probably keep him for Fulham at home, to be honest with you. No Cole Palmer news, but he's not going to be back until after the break. How good, bad does this bench boost look this week? Dubravka, pretty good. Hartman has got... Let's have a look here. West Ham away, so not bad. Dewsbury Hall's okay. I think it looks okay. I don't know if you're going to have much of a better bench boost than Dubravka, Hartman, Dewsbury Hall, and Thiago anytime soon. How do I feel about the corner controversy in the Man United game? Well, I'm glad it was given because Fernandes got an assist, but it did look like it probably wasn't a corner. How good does it feel to have 0 questions on Bruno this week? Quite nice. The member streams where he tells you he's going to get a hat-trick next year. Honestly, it's just the same as this. It's just going to be questions and answers. There's going to be like, if I'm not going to hide any transfers or anything like that. If I'm going to make a move, I'll just tell you in this stream. But right now, I don't know what I'm going to do. Last week, I said I was probably going to do Evan Nilsson to Mateta that night, and I did. So don't panic. You're not missing out. I'm not trying to sell you anything or anything like that. It's just for the people that are already members. We're all good. I also kind of want to see what happens. I'm not really sure how it converts because I've also got to stop the recording for the podcast as well. Like, I'm hoping that it creates a separate stream, but I'm telling you now, if it messes up the knee-jerk stream, I'll just stop doing it. I kind of already pre-warned people that were a member that this wouldn't necessarily be a kind of standard thing, so we'll have to see. 75 points good with bench boost and Royce and Jai Tarkovsky and Isidore tomorrow. I mean, it could well be, but it depends what the bench boost does, right? I asked the other day if I should spend 4 points on selling Sanchez for Pope. You advised against it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty standard don't do it answer. You got me hooked to join as a member. Well, you might enjoy it, you might not. What secret wisdom are members get? I mean, members will tell you now there's no secret wisdom. It's just the same terrible advice. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions we've not already answered. When do we know the Palace Carabao Cup fixture date? We should know by the Game Week 11 deadline, but I don't know the exact day we're going to find out. What I would say is it seems very, very unlikely we're going to get blanks and doubles. It just looks like that game will get rearranged for a date that doesn't move any Premier League games. Therefore, there's no blank. Therefore, there's no double. Any advice to people who want to quit FPL? Just quit. Like, if you don't enjoy something, why do it? Honestly. During AFCON, do we save transfers to get the players back in our teams later? Probably not. I don't think any of the players going to AFCON are so good that you've got to save transfers for them. I mean, maybe Salah, but no one wants Salah right now, right? And you don't know exactly how long players are going to be away for because it will depend on how well their teams do, etc. So you can just wait. We probably know the rearranged fixtures before 11. I think what we hopefully will know before 11 is where the Carabao Cup fixture is going. And then that will tell the fixture gurus whether or not there's any... Basically, you need that Carabao Cup game to go on the weekend of Game Week 17, essentially. And if it doesn't go on the weekend of Game Week 17, it's not going to affect any Premier League matches. And it's probably not going to happen. And I know that Palace aren't happy with it. I know that Glasner was speaking about it in his press conference. It doesn't mean it's going to... Like, basically, you're asking the Premier League to move a game so that a Carabao Cup fixture can be played. And they're not going to want to do it. Like, it's obviously not great for Crystal Palace to have to play Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. But the Premier League are not going to see it as their problem, you know? Why worry about your rank? It's just a game. Honestly, if you can play FPL without worrying about your rank, I genuinely think that's quite healthy and probably makes the game a bit more interesting. I think for me, because I do it as a job, I am a little bit more conscious of it because people just always ask me about it. And the better I can do, the less grief I get. So I think, yeah, for me, I like to have a decent overall rank by the end of the season, but I really wouldn't be getting too worked up about ranks right now. If they force Palace into those congested games, do we get a triple game? No. You only get doubles if you get blanks. And you only get a blank if a game gets postponed. And if that Carabao Cup game just goes on the 16th, 23rd or 24th of December, which apparently is the 3 dates being looked at, it won't move a Premier League game. Therefore, there's no blank. Therefore, there's no double. It just means that Crystal Palace will basically play Sunday in the Premier League, Tuesday in the Carabao Cup, Thursday in the Europa League Conference, and then Sunday in the Premier League again. So for Premier League, it's just Sunday. So no triple game weeks or anything. If you had this is such an end of stream type question. If you had a standard 9 to 5 job, do you think you'd prefer working from home or working in the office? Working from home. I do kind of miss being in an office for some reason. Like, it is nice to be around people and stuff like that, but not having to commute is so good. It's so good. Is this a good game week for wildcard or free hit? Probably not. Maybe free hit if you got loads of Liverpool and loads of Man City. Maybe. Although your Man City players are probably good against Liverpool at home. Wildcard, no. I would save it for 12 now. That's when the fixture swings are. Thoughts on Gyökeres to Gio and Foden to Salah and play 4-4-2? Don't hate that. Non-FPL question. Is it too much hassle to move other town? If I'm correct, you've done it a few times. Oh, I don't know. I haven't moved that much, to be honest. I have Triple Palace now, but I don't want to field all three. Thinking to bench Munoz. Madness. Just play your three Crystal Palace. Are you happy about Man United playing the only Boxing Day fixture? I hate the fact there's a Boxing Day fixture that late and the deadline is going to be 6:30. I mean, for me, obviously, it doesn't matter in terms of watching the game because I'm going to watch it on TV, but it probably does suck for match-going fans a little bit, especially those that are, especially the away fans, right? Genuine question. If you finish outside the top 1 million for the next 3 seasons, how would that affect your channel? People would stop watching. Not everyone, but obviously the numbers would go down a bit, yeah? And it would probably be horrible to do because you get constant grief. I get enough grief now, like, not that much, right? But it's like you get some, and I'm doing all right. Imagine if I was doing terrible. Haaland has Newcastle away in 12, worth going against. I'm considering it, yes, for like maybe Saka if I own him, maybe Bruno Fernandes, someone like that. I mean, if you got Salah, you could definitely look at Salah that week as well. Forest home. I just don't think I'm gonna own him. I would buy Enzo over in Burma and maybe risk Cunha in 12-14. Yeah, I don't hate Cunha in 12. I don't like Cunha actually until Mbeumo's gone, unless Mount gets injured. By the way, this stream is going to convert to a member stream in like 40 seconds. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work or what's going to happen, but thank you very much for watching tonight. If you did enjoy it, make sure to give it a like and hit that subscribe button. I'm also going to stop the podcast recording here as well. So if you're listening on podcast, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. Make sure to give it 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening to. So I'm gonna end the podcast recording. Goodbye. Okay, podcast recording is stopped. I'm not quite sure how this is going to work, but now I've got to answer this super chat in like 7 seconds. Reinders dropping Gyökeres rubbish. Gyökeres in. Reinders, Gordon, Gyökeres, Saka, Minte, Thiago. Yeah, I quite like that.